Good evening, everyone. I feel like Count Dracula when I say good evening. We are here back in Vegas. I had an amazing time. I'm going to do a recap about the first Form Summer Smash another day, but today we're talking about our tight hips. My hips are extremely tight from all the sitting in a plane and all the fitness and all the walking, but I'm not complaining. I'm grateful for it. So we are going to be getting a box. This box here is set up to about 28 inches, so a little under 3 inches. You could use a lower box, but I highly recommend a higher one. It's going to give you a little more external rotation of the hip joints. So we're going to cover 3 different exercises. The first one's going to be specific to rotating that hip out, so think external rotation, and we're going to get into the hip joint. But before we get started, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I would love for your support. It'd be hugely important to be able to help share more content out there and hopefully inspire you guys to along on your fitness journey. So any support is very welcome. So hit that I can't even talk. Hit that subscription bell and turn the notifications on if you're interested. If not, let's get to it. We are going to start with the box, like I said. The first exercise I'm actually going to demonstrate is going to be an elevated pigeon, and I'm going to show this on my left leg, and then I'm going to show this on my right leg. So forgive me if I'm a little short-sighted. I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night. Had a very early flight leaving from St. Louis, so I'm a little tired. So first exercise, elevated pigeon on the bench or box. This box is squishy, so I don't need to elevate it with an ab mat or a cushion. If you do need to do that, you can go ahead and grab one. So if I'm facing my box, I'm gonna have my ankle and my knees kind of like 2 contact points on this bench or box. Then from here, I want to think of creating a 90-degree angle with my upper and lower leg. From here, I'm just gonna hold this position. I can pivot my back leg back a little bit, but you should feel this in this left leg that's elevated on your bench or box. I'm just gonna start saying box from here on out so it makes it easier. From here, you're just gonna hold this position. Now, if it's super tight, you could always rotate away so you're at an angle that's gonna lessen the stretch. If you want more of a stretch, you can walk yourself further back and think of driving your knee to that box to help that external rotation. Hold here for 1 minute, then you're gonna switch and you're gonna rotate opposite leg on top. If you feel like your right side is tighter, then I recommend starting there. Now, notice that my right side obviously is tighter. You can see my knee coming up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna lean forward into this. I might actually have my knee in front of my ankle, so I'll pivot a little bit so you guys can see that. It's kind of at the angle. So instead of it being in line, my knee is being pushed forward, so I have a slight angle here. That's because I'm very tight in my right hip. So for 2 options for you guys here, you can either stay here where the knee is elevated, put an ab mat or a cushion or a pad underneath, or push that knee slightly forward so you kind of sink into it so you have some contact point with your shin and knee and your ankle. Again, 1 minute here. That's the first exercise. I recommend doing this 1 minute on each side. So if you're sitting for long hours, if you're flying, if you do lots of squats, if you work out, if you do anything to strengthen your hips, or if you sit a lot and your hips are very tight, I highly recommend adding this first exercise in that we just covered. Second one here is gonna be similar position. We're now gonna add a dynamic component. The dynamic component is going to be a reach in front of the knee. So ankle and my knee touching on top of the box, almost in line. Then if my left leg is up, my right arm, my right hand is gonna go across my body, reach to the opposite side, hold for a slight second, and then come back to center. So as I twist and rotate, I'm getting a little bit of rotation in my torso. I'm getting a more of intensified stretch in the back of the hip. So think of like your piriformis on your left side. I'll do this for 1 minute. Other option is to do for 20 repetitions. So think about 30 seconds. So if 1 minute is too much, scale back to 30 seconds. If you guys are just starting stretching into your routine, you can scale this back to 20 seconds, 15 seconds, if the minute is too much. Eventually you'll work up to the point where you have 2 minutes, then eventually 3 minutes. I know it seems like a lot, but the mobility and the flexibility in our joints and our hips will help with longevity. I will be wrapping this video up shortly, and I will be doing my own stretching. So again, highly encourage you guys to go out there. I know it's hard, I know it's frustrating, and it can be very minimal progress, but it is all worth it at the very end. All right, so 1 minute, 30 seconds, 20 reps, however you want to do it. The same thing on the opposite side, dynamically doing that rotation. Now, we're going to change it up a little bit. We are now going to face away from the box. This will be our third and final stretch. And again, like I said earlier, I would love your support. I totally messed it up, but if you'd love to subscribe and turn the notifications bell, there, I got it. You guys can totally do that. I would love the support. Again, trying to provide more content and more video, not just workouts, not just coaching, but also mobility and also lifestyle, nutrition, meal planning. So I'll get to all that shortly. This has been my go-to jam, so hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see more of. All right, third and final exercise for today before we close it up. Facing away from the box, my left foot's gonna come on top of the box. I have my ankle joint at the edge of where the box is kind of ending or turning on to the opposite side. I wanna keep my heel directly behind my butt versus having it come off to the side. So you wanna think of knee in line with your hip joint, and then you also wanna think of your foot directly behind your butt. From here, again, a couple different options. I like to give options. You can either step forward and lean away and then push your butt towards your heel. So notice I'm far away. I can focus towards pushing my butt back towards that. Notice that I do have a small anterior tilt. Granted, my hips are very tight, my quads are very tight, right? So one option is to lunge forward slightly and then push back. The other option is to bring that foot back and then stay here, and then I want you to tuck your pelvis under. So notice I'm kind of tucking my pelvis or scooping my pelvis under like a water bucket, making sure it's not tilting forward. I want to think of keeping it nice and flat, or almost like I'm going to tuck the water behind me. So this is going to go all the way down your quad into the top of the knee. If you have any knee issues or knee pain, it could be contributed to tight hips and tight quads. I'm not saying it is, but there could be a contributing factor, so just something to remember. 1 minute here, or scale back 30 seconds, then I'll switch. So I like to call this an elevated couch stretch. So you think of couch stretch doing this on the floor against the wall, or against the couch, or against the bench. This is just changing up where you're elevated. So if you have a hard time getting down to the floor, this could be a great substitute for yourself, your family, your friends, to be able to help you have an elevated object here. Now notice that my foot here is flexed slightly. So if I extend my ankle, so it's like if this was the wall right here, my ankle and shin were here, that's gonna make it a little more difficult. So again, this is a great way to regress an exercise, regress a stretch. Highly recommend trying it out. If you, again, are limited on time, you could do 30 seconds. Depending on how much time you have, you could do this flow or this stretch routine 3 times, maybe 2 times, depending on what you have. I typically like to do a minute of each exercise, and I'll go through that at least once, twice, if not 3 times. The external rotation, or the elevated pigeons that are dynamic, I do that at least 3 times on each hip. I'll do it for 20 reps on each side. That feels amazing afterwards. So highly recommend you guys doing this. Again, if you sit a lot, if you drive a lot, if you are at a desk, if you fly a lot, highly recommend adding these into your routine. And if you don't do any of those, still add them into your routine. Let me know what you do after you've done them. I know my hips already feel better, but I need a lot more time. I'm gonna go spend hopefully 45 minutes stretching. I'm gonna try to multitask and work on some emails, work on some content, as well as stretching. So if you guys love this content, please feel free to let me know by a comment, a like, a share, subscribe. Again, this is just a platform that I've been able to kind of curate as much content as I can to help you guys and help information out there. Again, I have all this information and being in the fitness industry for 14 years and love to share with you all. So I'm so glad I got this in before the end of the day. I'm very tired. My, what do you call them? Not black circles, dark circles, my eyes. They're sinking further into my head. So thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another live. I do have another trip coming up, but I will also do a recap of the first Form Summer Smash. It was amazing and highly recommend if you love fitness and you love community. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.